Hello, everyone, and welcome back to EasyTalk English. We're really happy you're here today, no matter where you're listening from. This is a safe and relaxed space to practice real English without pressure or fear of being judged.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you're feeling tired, embarrassed, or even a little stressed about English today, that's totally okay. This episode is especially for people who think, oh, no, I've been there.
Yes, exactly. Today is not about grammar rules or sounding perfect. It's about real life, real feelings, and the kind of mistakes that happen to normal people every single day.
And speaking of real mistakes, Linda, can I share something very embarrassing that happened to me recently? It's one of those moments that still makes me uncomfortable when I think about it.
Of course you can. I already feel nervous for you, but I'm listening. What happened?
So yesterday after work, I was really tired, and my neighbor was playing loud music late at night. I felt annoyed, so I wrote a message to a friend to complain about the noise and say how hard it was to relax.
That sounds very normal so far. Everyone complains to a friend sometimes, especially when they're tired. But I feel like something went wrong.
Yes, something went very wrong. I didn't send the message to my friend. I accidentally sent it directly to my neighbor, the person I was complaining about. When I saw the name on the screen, my heart just dropped.
Oh no, that moment when you realize your mistake is terrible. Your face gets hot, your stomach feels tight, and you just want to disappear.
Exactly. I felt so embarrassed and ashamed right away. I kept thinking, why didn't I check before sending? I didn't mean to hurt anyone, but the situation still felt awful.
I really understand that feeling. And honestly, mistakes like this happen to so many people. Sending a message to the wrong person is almost a modern life classic.
That's true, but at that moment, it felt huge. Even though it was a small mistake, it felt very heavy inside. I apologized immediately, but I couldn't stop thinking about it afterward.
And that's something important. Many mistakes are not serious, but they feel heavy in our mind. We replay them again and again, even when no one else is thinking about them anymore.
Yes, and that made me think more deeply. Why do mistakes feel so big, even when we know they're normal and human?
That's actually the main question of today's episode. Why do mistakes feel so heavy, even when everyone makes them?
Today, we're not going to teach grammar or tell you to think positive. We just want to talk honestly about mistakes in real life and how they affect us.
So if you've made a mistake recently and you still feel awkward or embarrassed about it, you really belong here. And before we continue, if you enjoy learning real, everyday English with us, please like this episode and subscribe to Easy Talk English so you don't miss the next conversation.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you're feeling tired, embarrassed, or even a little stressed about English today, that's totally okay. This episode is especially for people who think, oh, no, I've been there.
Yes, exactly. Today is not about grammar rules or sounding perfect. It's about real life, real feelings, and the kind of mistakes that happen to normal people every single day.
And speaking of real mistakes, Linda, can I share something very embarrassing that happened to me recently? It's one of those moments that still makes me uncomfortable when I think about it.
Of course you can. I already feel nervous for you, but I'm listening. What happened?
So yesterday after work, I was really tired, and my neighbor was playing loud music late at night. I felt annoyed, so I wrote a message to a friend to complain about the noise and say how hard it was to relax.
That sounds very normal so far. Everyone complains to a friend sometimes, especially when they're tired. But I feel like something went wrong.
Yes, something went very wrong. I didn't send the message to my friend. I accidentally sent it directly to my neighbor, the person I was complaining about. When I saw the name on the screen, my heart just dropped.
Oh no, that moment when you realize your mistake is terrible. Your face gets hot, your stomach feels tight, and you just want to disappear.
Exactly. I felt so embarrassed and ashamed right away. I kept thinking, why didn't I check before sending? I didn't mean to hurt anyone, but the situation still felt awful.
I really understand that feeling. And honestly, mistakes like this happen to so many people. Sending a message to the wrong person is almost a modern life classic.
That's true, but at that moment, it felt huge. Even though it was a small mistake, it felt very heavy inside. I apologized immediately, but I couldn't stop thinking about it afterward.
And that's something important. Many mistakes are not serious, but they feel heavy in our mind. We replay them again and again, even when no one else is thinking about them anymore.
Yes, and that made me think more deeply. Why do mistakes feel so big, even when we know they're normal and human?
That's actually the main question of today's episode. Why do mistakes feel so heavy, even when everyone makes them?
Today, we're not going to teach grammar or tell you to think positive. We just want to talk honestly about mistakes in real life and how they affect us.
So, if you've made a mistake recently and you still feel awkward or embarrassed about it, you really belong here. And before we continue, if you enjoy learning real, everyday English with us, please like this episode and subscribe to EasyTalk English so you don't miss the next conversation. I really understand that feeling, and honestly, mistakes like this happen to so many people. Sending a message to the wrong person is almost a modern life classic.
That's true, but at that moment, it felt huge. Even though it was a small mistake, it felt very heavy inside. I apologized immediately, but I couldn't stop thinking about it afterward.
And that's something important. Many mistakes are not serious, but they feel heavy in our mind. We replay them again and again, even when no one else is thinking about them anymore.
Yes, and that made me think more deeply. Why do mistakes feel so big, even when we know they're normal and human? That's actually the main question of today's episode. Why do mistakes feel so heavy, even when everyone makes them?
Today, we're not going to teach grammar or tell you to think positive. We just want to talk honestly about mistakes in real life and how they affect us.
So, if you've made a mistake recently and you still feel awkward or embarrassed about it, you really belong here. And before we continue, if you enjoy learning real everyday English with us, please like this episode and subscribe to Easy Talk English so you don't miss the next conversation. Before we go deeper, I think it's really important to slow down and talk about one basic question. What is a mistake, really, in everyday English and in real life?
For me, a mistake is very simple. It's something you do wrong without meaning to. You didn't plan it, you didn't want to hurt anyone, it just happened.
Yes, exactly. A mistake is not about being careless or being a bad person. It's usually just a human moment where things don't go the way you expected.
And that's why many beginners feel relief when they hear this, because a mistake doesn't mean you're stupid, lazy, or not good enough. It just means you're human.
In English, we often use the word mistake in daily life. For example, I made a mistake, or sorry, that was my mistake. It sounds normal and very human.
There's also the word error, which is similar but a little different. Error sounds more formal and is often used at work, in reports, or with computers.
Right. You might say there is an error in the document, or the system showed an error. But in daily conversation, mistake feels warmer and more personal.
And most mistakes in life are small and ordinary, forgetting someone's birthday, saying the wrong word, or choosing the wrong time to speak.
I've forgotten birthdays before, and it never felt good. Even though it was unintentional, I felt guilty and awkward afterward.
Same here. And sometimes the mistake is just saying the wrong word in English. You want to say one thing, but another word comes out.
That happens to English learners all the time, and it even happens to native speakers. We all say things like, "Oh, that's not what I meant."
Or choosing the wrong moment to talk. Maybe you speak when someone is tired or busy, and later you think, that wasn't the right time.
Those moments don't mean you're bad at communication. They mean you're learning how people in situations work.
I really want to say this clearly. Everyone makes mistakes, even confident people, even people who speak English very well.
Yes, confidence doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you don't let mistakes define who you are.
That's such an important difference. A mistake is something that happened, not who you are as a person.
Exactly. Mistakes are human moments, not character labels. They don't describe your value or your intelligence.
So if you remember just one sentence from this part, let it be this. A mistake is not who you are. It's just something that happened. Okay, if we're talking about embarrassing and scary mistakes, I have to share this one. It still makes my heart beat faster when I think about it, even though it happened years ago.
I already feel nervous for you, Alex. This sounds serious, not just a small, awkward moment.
It was serious and very real. I was camping with a friend in the mountains, and we were tired after hiking all day, so we didn't think carefully.
Let me guess, this is where the mistake starts. Tired people always forget the important rules.
Exactly. We cooked dinner, had snacks, and then we left all the food right outside our tent. There were warning signs everywhere saying not to do that.
Oh no, the signs were there and you ignored them. That already feels like trouble.
At the time, we thought, it'll be fine, nothing will happen. But in the middle of the night, I heard heavy breathing and bags ripping open.
That's terrifying. I'm already imagining it and I don't like it at all.
It was a real bear, right outside our tent eating our food. I was frozen, scared, and also deeply embarrassed about how stupid we were.
Fear and shame at the same time is such a strong feeling. You know you made a mistake and you're also scared for your safety.
Exactly. In that moment, all the safety rules I knew disappeared from my head. Panic took over and I could only lie there and wait.
That really shows how panic works. When we're scared, we forget what we already know, even very basic things.
After the bear left, we didn't sleep at all. In the morning, we saw our food destroyed, and the mistake felt huge and unforgettable.
But now, years later, you can talk about it calmly, even laugh a little. That shows how mistakes change over time.
Yes, now it's a story I tell to warn other people. Fear taught me faster than any book ever could.
I have a similar kind of story, but mine happened while traveling in Asia. It wasn't about animals, but it was still scary.
I remember this trip. Was this the traffic story?
Yes, I was trying to cross a very busy street with lots of motorbikes. I knew the rule was to walk slowly and confidently.
But you panicked.
I completely panicked. Instead of walking calmly, I ran across the street because I felt overwhelmed and scared.
That must have been dangerous. Panic really makes us do the opposite of what we should do.
It was dangerous, and afterward I felt embarrassed and shaky. A local person had to explain to me what I should have done.
And I'm guessing you never forgot that lesson.
Never. I also made smaller mistakes, like pointing at the wrong food on a menu and ordering something I couldn't eat at all.
Those moments feel so big when they happen, like everyone is watching and judging you.
Yes, but later they become stories. And honestly, those mistakes taught me more about the culture than any guidebook.
That's such an important point. Fear teaches faster than books, and mistakes stay in our memory.
It's the same with learning English. When you say something wrong and feel embarrassed, you often remember the correct version forever.
Exactly. Mistakes feel heavy in the moment, but later they become lessons and even good stories.
So, if you're listening and you've made a scary or embarrassing mistake, remember this. One day it might help you learn, laugh, or even help someone else.
Mistakes don't end the story. Most of the time, they become the story.
After a mistake, the hardest part for me is not the situation itself, but what I say to myself afterward. I replay the moment again and again and think, why am I so stupid, even when I know I didn't mean to do anything wrong?
I relate to that so much. The mistake is over, but the self-talk keeps going, and sometimes it hurts more than the mistake itself.
That voice is full of regret. I think about what I should have done differently and imagine a better version of the moment that already passed.
Regret can be useful for a second because it helps us see what went wrong, but when it stays too long, it turns into something heavier.
Yes, and that heavier feeling is shame. Shame sounds like, this mistake means something is wrong with me, not just with my action.
Shame is dangerous because it makes people hide. Instead of saying, I made a mistake, we think, I am the mistake, and then we stop trying.
I've noticed that when I feel shame, I don't want to talk, explain, or even practice again. I just want to disappear for a while.
That's exactly what shame does. It doesn't help you grow. It makes you quiet and small, even when you still want to learn.
Guilt feels different for me. Guilt says I did something wrong, but it doesn't attack who I am as a person.
That's an important difference. Guilt can lead to responsibility, like apologizing or fixing something, but shame blocks that process.
When I feel guilty, I can say sorry and move forward. When I feel shame, I get stuck and keep punishing myself.
And being hard on yourself doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you smarter, faster, or more careful next time.
It just makes you scared to act. I've avoided speaking English before because I didn't want to feel that shame again.
That happens to many learners. One mistake becomes a wall, not because the mistake was big, but because the shame felt heavy.
I used to believe that being strict with myself would help me improve. I thought harsh words would push me to do better.
But in reality, harsh self-talk makes learning feel unsafe. And when something feels unsafe, the brain wants to escape.
Exactly. Learning needs a safe space, even inside your own head. If your inner voice is cruel, you won't want to stay there.
That's why shame blocks learning. It closes curiosity and replaces it with fear. And fear is not a good teacher.
I'm trying to change my self-talk now. When I catch myself saying, "Why am I so stupid?" I pause and soften it.
What do you say instead?
I try something simple like, "That was a mistake and I'm learning." It doesn't excuse the action, but it doesn't attack me either.
That's a powerful shift. Responsibility stays, but shame leaves the room.
Yes, and it helps me stay open. I can think about what to do next instead of hiding from the memory.
I do something similar. I remind myself that confident people also make mistakes. They just don't let shame decide their next step.
That's comforting to hear. It reminds me that mistakes are human moments, not proof that I should stop.
Exactly. Being hard on yourself doesn't make you better. It makes you quieter, and quiet people stop growing.
So if you're listening and feeling regret or shame after a mistake, take a breath. You're not broken. You're human.
And learning continues when kindness replaces punishment. That's where real progress starts.
After we talk about regret and shame, the next real-life question is very practical. What do we actually say when we make a mistake and need to apologize in English?
Yes, because mistakes happen at work, with friends, with family, and even with strangers. Knowing how to apologize clearly can save relationships and reduce stress.
The simplest and most common phrase is just, "I'm sorry." It's short, natural, and works in most everyday situations.
I'm sorry is powerful when it's sincere. You don't need long explanations if the mistake is small.
For example, "I'm sorry I'm late," or "I'm sorry about the confusion." Simple English is often the best English.
In more formal situations, especially at work, you might hear, "I apologize." It sounds more professional and serious.
Yes, like, "I apologize for the delay," or "I apologize for the mistake in the report." It shows respect and responsibility.
But when the mistake is bigger, just saying sorry is usually not enough. People want to hear that you understand what went wrong.
That's when taking responsibility matters. You can say, "This was my fault," or "I made a mistake."
Taking responsibility builds trust because it shows honesty. It tells the other person you're not trying to escape the situation.
One very important thing here is to avoid excuses, especially sentences that start with, "Sorry, but..."
Yes, sorry, but I was busy, or sorry, but you didn't explain clearly, doesn't feel like a real apology.
The word "but" cancels the apology. It sounds like you're blaming the other person or the situation.
A better way is to stop the sentence before, but just apologize and pause.
Then, if needed, you can explain later in a calm way, not inside the apology itself.
Another helpful part of an apology is saying what you will do differently next time. This shows learning.
For example, "I'm sorry I forgot the meeting. Next time, I'll write it in my calendar."
Or, I apologize for the mistake. I'll double-check my work before sending it.
This part is very important in work situations. It helps people feel safe working with you again.
Now, let's talk about the other side. What do you say when someone apologizes to you?
If you're ready to forgive, you can say, "It's okay," "No problem," or "Don't worry about it."
Those phrases help close the situation and allow both people to move on.
But sometimes the mistake hurts and you're not ready to forgive immediately. That's also okay.
In that case, you can say, I need some time, or I'm not ready to talk about it yet.
That's honest and respectful. You're not attacking the person, but you're also protecting your feelings.
Forgiving doesn't have to be fast. It just needs to be real.
I think many learners worry that apologizing makes them look weak, but in real life, it's the opposite.
Yes, owning a mistake shows confidence. Pretending to be perfect usually creates distance and mistrust.
When someone admits a mistake, I personally trust them more. It feels human and real.
Me too. Perfect people feel fake. Honest people feel safe.
So if you're listening, remember this. You don't need perfect English to apologize well.
Simple words, calm tone, and responsibility are enough.
Owning a mistake builds more trust than pretending it never happened.
And that skill is useful not just for English, but for life.
Now I want to talk about something that can really change the way we see mistakes. What if mistakes are not a problem, but actually a sign that we are growing?
That idea took me a long time to accept. I used to think mistakes meant I was bad at something or not smart enough.
Especially when learning English, right? You say one word wrong and your face gets hot immediately.
Exactly. And the funny thing is that those embarrassing moments are the ones I remember the most. I never forget the word I said wrong.
That's because embarrassment creates strong memory. When your emotions are involved, your brain pays attention. So when you say the wrong word and someone corrects you, it stays in your head much longer than a word from a textbook.
Yes, reading a word quietly is easy to forget. Saying it wrong out loud makes it stick.
I still remember the first time I confused borrow and lend. I used it wrong in a meeting and everyone looked confused. And I'm guessing you never made that mistake again.
Never. That mistake taught me better than any grammar rule.
This is something many learners don't realize. Mistakes are not slowing you down. They're actually pushing you forward.
Avoiding mistakes feels safe, but it keeps you in the same place. You only use what you already know.
And growth happens when you try new words, new sentences, new situations.
Which means mistakes are unavoidable if you want to improve.
I like to remind learners that experts made more mistakes than beginners. They just made them earlier.
That's such an important point. Experts didn't become good by being careful. They became good by trying a lot.
When you hear someone speak English confidently, you don't see the thousands of mistakes behind that confidence.
You only see the result, not the process.
And that comparison is unfair to yourself. You are comparing your middle to someone else's finish line.
Another thing I notice is that when I stop caring about mistakes, I speak more freely.
Yes, your brain relaxes. You focus on meaning, not fear.
And when fear is gone, learning becomes faster and more natural.
Mistakes also show curiosity. You tried a new word because you wanted to express something.
That intention matters more than accuracy in the beginning.
If you never make new mistakes, it often means you're not challenging yourself.
You're staying in the safe zone, repeating the same simple sentences.
But real progress comes from stepping slightly outside that comfort zone.
That's where mistakes live, and that's where learning lives too.
I often tell my students this. Every mistake is information. It tells you what to work on next.
Mistakes are like signs on the road. They show you direction, not failure.
So instead of asking, why am I so bad at this? Try asking, what did this mistake teach me?
That small change in mindset makes a huge difference over time. And here's the key idea we want you to remember.
Every new mistake means you're trying something new.
And trying something new is always a step forward, not backward.
If you're making mistakes in English, it means you're learning, and that's exactly where you should be.
Before we finish today, let's slow down for a moment and look at what we've talked about together. This episode wasn't about being perfect, it was about being human.
We talked about how mistakes are normal, not something strange or shameful. Everyone makes them, even confident people, even people who look like they know everything.
We also talked about regret and how regret doesn't mean you are weak. Regret often means you care and you want to do better next time.
And learning only happens when you try. If you never try, nothing new can grow. Trying always comes with mistakes.
That's why mistakes are not the end of the story. They are usually the beginning of understanding.
Now let's gently review some useful words we used today, just to make them feel familiar and comfortable.
The first word is mistake. A mistake is something you do wrong without meaning to. It happens to everyone.
Next is error. It's very similar to mistake, but it sounds more formal. You often hear it at work or with technology.
Then we have regret. Regret is the feeling you have when you wish you had done something differently.
Apologize is a verb. To apologize means to say you were sorry in an honest way.
Forgive means to stop being angry about a mistake. Forgiving others and yourself takes time.
And finally, learn. To learn means to grow from experience, especially from mistakes.
You don't need to remember everything perfectly. Just hearing these words again and again is already learning.
Now we'd like to hear from you, because EasyTalk English is not just us talking. It's a community.
Here's our question of the day. What mistake taught you something important?
It can be a small mistake or a big one, something at work, in English, in life, or with another person.
You can write just 1 or 2 simple sentences in the comments. There's no need for perfect grammar.
If you saw yourself in our stories today, you can like this episode. It helps other learners find us too.
And if you want to keep learning real, gentle English with us, you can subscribe to EasyTalk English.
We read your comments, and we learn from your stories as well. You're not learning alone here.
Let's end with one calm thought to take with you today.
Mistakes don't close doors. They teach you how to open them.
Thank you for listening, for trying, and for being here with us.
See you next time, and be kind to yourself.